So here we are again. Um, you know, we have been doing this kind of live for several years. It's unbelievable. Many years before it became trendy, let's say, to do a webinar. Now everybody's doing a webinar, and we have been doing it for a long time. So we are pioneers, let's say. So today we are actually talking about the changes that COVID-19 brought to us. And we have our fantastic panel with Sophie and Peter from Sweden and from UK, but brackets from Australia. So Sophie, tell me one change that you think that was brought by COVID-19.
Yeah, my first point today is about a new kind of rudeness that has appeared. And that is about to interrupt someone with a video call without preparing them. So you recognize that?
Are you saying that I did that to you?
No. I've been prepared since 10 o'clock this morning, so okay. I'm fine.
I'm very good in this kind of etiquette because I send the invitation before, and I understand what you are saying because it's like, it's so easy. It's only to press a button and that's it.
Yeah. No, but like before, like if you work in an office or you have a phone call, you know, if you go into office, you are prepared, you are there, you have been like doing your morning routine and you feel fit. But if you are at home, working from home, this is a new kind of issue that, you know, if someone interrupts you during the day, you feel also a bit awkward about it because you should be ready, but maybe you aren't. So that's my new insight. So don't be rude. Please prepare the people you're going to talk to about what's going on, if it's going to be a phone call or if it's going to be a video call.
Yeah. So etiquette. So Peter, what is yours?
Yeah, just a client was saying to me recently that being online means people do back-to-back meetings and you have to be able to, if someone's trying to call you via video, you have to sort of be willing to say, no, I don't have to take this right now, just like you would with a normal phone call. But the temptation is, oh, they're on video, I better take the call. So mine is that going forward, we're going to be far more effective at online communication. We're all on a steep learning curve at the moment. I mean, the reason when you two invited me to join in these calls, I don't know, how many years do you think it must be? It must be
more than 6.
I'd say so.
I'm trying to figure it out.
When you invited me to join for these kind of conversations, at the time I was thinking, well, it's not really work. It's not making me money, blah, blah, blah. But then I thought, actually, it's a great opportunity to practice using this kind of modality because I've wanted to get better at this anyway. But I have to say, since we've had the COVID-19 and the lockdown, everybody's had to learn this stuff. Everybody's had to get better at it. And I'm learning myself. I mean, the funny thing is 3 minutes before we went on air, I realized my shirt was a patterned shirt that was making horrible patterns. So I ran out and got another shirt and changed. So I'm still learning. And even our last conversation, when I played it back, both of you were looking at the camera when you were making your points. And I had some notes that I was looking at. So I was looking down a lot and it doesn't work as well. And, you know, we've had to learn about positioning yourself on the camera so you're not, you know, people aren't looking up your nose or down at you. They can see sort of your head and shoulders at the very least. We have to get our lighting right because I hate going on calls where people have got bright light behind them and I can't see their face. And there's so many different things to learn. And of course, we've never been inside so many other people's houses as we have in the last 3 months, because you get to see people's furniture, their washing, their books, you know. And I think there's a really important thing about making sure that your background is neat and clean and not too cluttered. So all of that. But I think the biggest challenge that I've got coming up in the next 2 weeks is I was due to present at a conference here in the UK in 2 weeks' time. And they've now decided to take the conference online. So there was going to be 300 to 400 people at the conference. Now there's going to be 600 to 700 people because it's free and it's online. But to deliver my keynote through, you know, speaking to a piece of glass and plastic is a whole different experience. And I've had to rehearse that because it's quite different to having audience. So in a nutshell, I think what's happening is we are learning, all of us, to get better at this. And, you know, there's still a lot to learn. I'm still learning even 3 minutes before this call. So, but I think in the long run, that's a good thing. So that's mine.
So basically, we are gaining new skills. For instance, I was gaining a new problem here, is that I seem like I'm like crazy with my computer, because actually it went live on Facebook and it went out on Facebook. So it is not a sabotage only for me to be on Facebook, because now it's live again on Facebook. So it is, we were talking about etiquette, and we were talking about how we invade the spaces that people have. And nowadays, I think one of the things that is going to stay is remote work. And I have been explaining this for a long time, that I think that the new real estate crisis will come from office real estate.
Yeah,
for
agree.
a long time, I have been saying this before COVID-19. And I was like saying, look, it will be happening because we have a different generation that will come to the workplace, and they don't understand why the hell they are going to a place. They take their own computer, they sit wherever they can. Why so? And another thing, because it's all open space, they will put their headphones and they will be isolated from the rest. And this is a workplace. And when you see, let's say, this kind of very hype workplace, you see that they are trying to be more a home than a workplace. So you see the cool sofas and things like this. And something is strange. So you drive 2 hours per day minimum back and forth, or commute by transportation, to go from home to home, to go to the same connection, to the same software that you have at home, and theoretically to socialize, but you are not there to socialize because there is too much noise and you have to isolate yourself in order to do some work. That is strange. So with COVID-19, we had like more than 21 days, the time to create a habit, to create a habit. And the habit is, I can do this from home. And there is a lot of people that are considering not returning. And a lot of companies are at the same time saying, we can cut costs, because we need to cut costs in the next 1-2 years for sure. So the choice will be, in many companies, either we sell the office or not rent it, or we fire people and we let go the talent that we have inside of the company. Maybe the office is so nice. I like the office empty. So I think the choice will be easy in some companies, but it will not be like very fast. But I've seen that companies are making plans, people not to return until September, and others are even saying not until January 2021.
Wow.
So I think this is going to change. So Sophie, your next change.
Yes. Well, I'm at home with my daughter at the moment, so most of the time I'm with her. But I've been to 2 work meetings so far, and they have been in real life. and we have booked a huge conference room, which easily would fit 50 people in, and we've been 9 people sitting in these meetings. And we had a lot of conversation before whether we should meet in real life or we should meet online. And in the end, we thought it was better to meet in real life. And the first time, everyone were like tripping around, not really sure what to do. But each person's table and chair was about 2 meters away from each other. And we were like totally insecure, like the first timers, as if we were the first time in a meeting. And we were hesitating how to open the door. We were hesitating in how to queue up to the coffee. I felt really weird about being given a piece of pastry. I'm like, has the person washed her hands or not? But like the first meeting, that was us trying out. And the second meeting was much, much, much easier. So it was as we were like virgins in having a meeting, but we are all experienced meeting participants, all of us. But it was quite funny to realize how different it was to be very conscious about the virus. And every meeting has been going well, and we have had one person participate through online video, and we had a great microphone which made the sound from everyone in the room go to her, and we didn't have any connection problems with the sound, because that is what I found before, is that the microphones are useless. But we have actually found one that works. And I think like one new trend is going to be that big conference rooms are going to be booked up forever. You know, if you have invested in a huge conference venue with lots of space, you're lucky. If you have a tiny one, I'm not really sure it's going to last that long. But we felt safe at this place, and we had new routines with how to sort of deal with all these issues, and it has worked. It worked quite well, I would say. Yeah.
I clearly identify with what Sophie is saying, because the other day I did a mistake. I shook a hand of somebody, and I was like, and we are like,
you murderer.
And we are like, in my mind, I was like, did I kill somebody? No. So it is something strange. We are getting paranoid. Peter.
Okay, so building on what Sophie was just talking about, I think one of the outcomes of this, we will actually appreciate in-person communication more. So while I think it's great that we're learning that we don't have to meet face-to-face all of the time, we actually, when we do, I think we value it and appreciate it more, because we see how much extra nuances, value we can pick up from people. So yesterday I went, it's the first time I've been anywhere in my car for nearly 2 months, and my battery was actually flat, but I got going, got up to the client, 2-hour drive, and I met with a couple of people that I've been working with. So a lot of the stuff I've been doing online, but it was really good for them and for me to meet face to face. And a couple of meetings I was doing, it was important really that we could be in the same room. So I think, while I think we're beginning to understand we don't have to meet face to face all the time, I think we will still do it, and I think we will appreciate it far more. And that's both, you know, professionally and socially.
Yeah. By the way, because we are in Facebook Live, if there is any question during this Facebook Live, you can type it and you can put to us, because, or maybe some challenge that you want us to comment on. I think this is more a wishful thinking that I hope that it will change, because unfortunately I see a lot of signs that it's not changing, is to people to understand that it is a skill to read data and to read the numbers. And I say that this is a more wishful thinking that I see a lot of, let's say, wrongdoing, is that especially in the media, people don't know how to read numbers. They don't. And they pass it on to the general audience. They don't explain it. You don't need to be a mathematician. I'm not, for sure. But there are things that are logical, that they are simple. I give you an example, like saying that we have more infections from day to day without comparing with the number of analyses that are being done. So it's completely irrelevant if it's up and down, if you don't say how many. If it is, there is a relation. It's not like, it's like touching all the people at the same time and you get more. No, it doesn't work like that. So data, I believe that there are some people that will look to data and will see that it will be very important, even in this kind of situations. It is data should be on the center of the decision making. And I think it's not. So decision making, using data to decision making in marketing, it's more and more, okay? Digital marketing for sure. But I think that people don't understand that we generate data in a lot of times, in a lot of places, and we need to use more of that data to make much more rational decisions and not triggered by, let's say, mob thinking or some people say. That is really, really complicated.
I think the other issue, of course, is the quality of the data as well, because the problem is, you know, if we just look at deaths from COVID-19, I think some countries are over-reporting because every person who dies with it is considered to die of it, even though the reason for their death might be other things, so it can exaggerate the extent. And it's possible that some countries are under-reporting the numbers. So it's, you know, we always have to be a little bit skeptical about the numbers we see, but just being able to ask that question just gives us a healthy outlook on what we're looking at, just to be questioning it a bit more, not just taking it at face value.
Because I see so many hours spent on commenting in this kind of thing, but I don't see, for instance, nobody talks about how many people die normally.
That's right.
Because it seems that since March or February, the only case, origin of death is COVID-19. Everybody's living to 100 years if they don't have a COVID-19.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we're all awake to that fact. And the other thing is also looking at total numbers, because you can go into Worldometer and look at the statistics and sort them in different order. One interesting statistic is the number of deaths per million people, which changes the table altogether. I think San Marino is the highest in the world.
Yeah, they are dying like pigeons.
because there's not so many of them, but there's a large proportion of their population. You know, whereas America's the highest number overall, but per million, it's further down the table. So, you know, you can do a lot of good and bad with statistics.
No, of course. There is this saying that there is lies, there is statistics, and there are them lies. So Sophie, you're next.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Well, I found a new way of multitasking during Corona, which I haven't
and that's
done
not just
before.
because you're a mum.
No. Well, it's involved. My daughter is involved, but I think this is actually something that many people can use. This is a tip. This is a really good way of dealing with online webinars and seminars. So during spring, I thought, okay, I need to meet a few more people, and how am I going to do it? So I signed up to an online Facebook group for people who are at home with their kids, and they have normally they have meetings in the towns and cities where they are based. And I thought to myself, well, if it's likely that I will drive into Gothenburg bring Vendela with me and go to a meeting? Well, no. And they changed swiftly to start with Zoom meetings. So I started to go to all different chapters around Sweden. I started to go to one meeting per week. So I've done like that for like 7 weeks. So it's been quite inspiring to join the meetings. And I have 2 really good tips here. Or actually it's 1 tip, but anyway, it involves a few more things. So what I do then is I sign up to the meeting at my computer. At the same time, I sign up on my mobile phone. And I have the sound from my mobile phone in my wireless headphones, which is a must if you have a baby, because the wire is a pain in the neck. And it means that I can, if I need to go out for a walk with her in the prom, or if I go up, I don't know, if I go anywhere else, I just bring my mobile phone and I still hear the sound here. And I perfectly can sit down at my computer as usual when I'm like at the kitchen table or somewhere else. And I found it really useful that you can be like multitasking and dip in and out of a meeting and sit like this, prepared in a chair. And then you just close your video and you only show your picture that you have uploaded before in Zoom. This has been Zoom meetings, most of them. And then you can go out for a little walk with her, boop, 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 if that's needed. And she's often quite grumpy before lunch because she doesn't realize that she's tired. So you sort of have to help her in the prom and go out for a little stroll. And then she will fall asleep after a little bit. But I found it quite, I never thought about this before. Maybe in a way, because I found like when you are using a mobile phone in a meeting, it's quite annoying because you have to hold it yourself. It's quite tiring. But this way you have like both options, and it's really smart.
You know, I can relate with that also because I like. Since I did my diet, now I'm a freak about walking. I need to walk a lot. So I use that walking time to hear podcasts and to hear books and things like this. And now I also use it to hear webinars. So I walk and I'm hearing webinars like this one that we are having, and I'm walking. So it is very convenient. I kudos to that. Yeah. Peter.
Yeah.
It's all right if the webinar doesn't have lots of visual stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so my third and final one is that I think people won't waste as much time and energy on travel in the future. So it connects back to the previous points that we've been making, but because people start to realize they do have a viable choice, a choice that can work quite well. So whether it's traveling to another country or just traveling to another city or part of the country you're in. When I moved to the UK from Australia, I came from the city of Adelaide. We had about 1 million people in the city, and it was called the 20-minute city. You could be anywhere in the city, get anywhere much in 20 to 30 minutes. And then when I moved to the UK, I suddenly realized people will do things like, I was on a train to Birmingham from London, and it was like, I was on a train and there were other people on the train and they were going up to Birmingham for a meeting, just one meeting and then back. So it's 2 hours travel, have the meeting, 2 hours back. And I got into that here. I've got a couple of clients that are a 2-hour drive from where I live, and I would drive or take a train 2 hours to get there, have the meeting, 2 hours back, and get used to that. And since the lockdown, of course, we've had to meet remotely, and we've done it quite effectively. We've been able to have shorter meetings sometimes and maybe have more shorter meetings than one big long meeting. So we have more choices. So my point number 2 was that we do appreciate and need in-person communication from time to time, but I think we will save a lot of time and a lot of energy and help the planet by not traveling as much as we need to, because we do have a viable choice.
And my last one is, at the same time, is a wishful thinking. but I think is something that people realize more now than ever, is that we are all connected. Every single behavior that we have has a repercussion in others. It might be a small one, or it might be a butterfly effect. So the butterfly effect exists, and we are watching at this most big effect, let's say. It's not the best word, but it's basically somebody, if we agree with the narrative, somebody in some Chinese market did something very wrong. And suddenly we are here, you are in Sweden, you are in UK, I'm in Portugal, and we are closed down because somebody did that. And that is possible. That is possible. It might not be true in this case, it might be true, I don't care. But actually, our behaviors have an impact in the overall. So people that changed the world were one people, one person, but they build up on more people. They went viral. Gandhi went viral, Jesus went viral, Martin Luther King went viral. Those are viral characters in the history of mankind. So we never know what we are unleashing. Even us here, we don't know what is the butterfly effect of this webinar that we are talking.
So to build on that point, I think it's really important that we each take responsibility for our part in that process, because, you know, one butterfly effect kicked off was that an American policeman put his knee on the neck of a black man in America and killed him, and that's triggered a whole outrage across the world. Those frustrations were always there. They've been released again through the actions of one person that was focused on by the media and then spread around the world. And I think how we each choose to participate in that spread is really important. So if we are just, you know, it's natural to be outraged by events like that, but I think, you know, do we want to add more anger and rage, or do we want to do something positive with that and make sure that our participation in that narrative, that dialogue about what's going on in the world, is more useful and more positive for the future, rather than just being it's terrible and we hate these people, and which just builds on the anger. So that's my build on what you've just said. I don't know if you guys agree or not.
Sophie, your last comment, and we will do our closing as always.
I'm fine. I was just listening. So
okay.
Yeah.
So
just nodding.
So guys, this is all for today. As always, an interesting conversation. I was rechecking again. The first one we did was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, so back in 2014, and I was like browsing through all the videos that we did. There is something in common, is that Sophie is changing hairdress for hair for the whole time, and we more or less have the same as our mothers gave us, is more or less the same haircut. It is something common in guys. I don't know.
You're a bit slimmer than you were.
We can soon make a really nice picture of each.
Well,
we can take a shot from it, all of us.
Yeah, I will take it as a challenge, and I will do it for the next time. So guys, thank you very much, Peter and Sophie, for hanging out, and sharing your experience, your thought. And it's always a very interesting opportunity to have a very intelligent conversation. I think the world needs intelligent conversations. Yes. And not discussing always the same stuff with the same narratives and arguments. And we have to think out of the box, and we have to be challenged to do so. And this is a kind of our personal challenge between us and to the people that choose to hear us. So thank you very much, and see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.